Hello, welcome to the edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Right off the bat on today's show. In the life of any automobile, no matter where it is, especially for brand new automobiles, there's always a lot of firsts. And when it comes to the C8 mid-engine Chevrolet Corvette, there's a first, maybe not for the best reason, because we got photographs of the first crashed one, at least the first one that someone's actually taken photographs of. Yeah, this particular machine actually crashed on a public highway, and these photographs are slathered all over the old internets over the past several days. No reports of anybody getting injured in this particular situation, but sadly, this is the end for this car because it's an actual test mule. There's no way they're going to fix this thing unless they're just really begging to have some of these actually still in the production line or as far as the pre-production line. So this is a pretty interesting situation. Kind of a sad situation if you're a big fan of the brand new C8 Corvette. Next up on the list, well, the folks over at Jeep have got an interesting situation on their hands. There's this phenomenon that they're getting sued for known as death wobble. Death wobble is a situation where when you hit a large bump, especially in a live front axle machine, that it gets this wobbling situation or an oscillation of the steering system itself. This is something that I don't know if I've ever really experienced. I've had tons of live axle machines, but I've never really experienced this. But the trick is that Wranglers used to be owned by real Jeep people that loved off-roading, people that were big Jeep fans, and people that weren't frightened to death about this particular situation. Now, in the words of a fan of Jeeps that I have actually just worked on his car, just bought a brand new JL here in the past several months. I was doing some work to it, and he was telling me about these, what he's calling boulevard queens, or, basically pavement princesses, where these vehicles never see off-road action. But the trick is that a lot of these people aren't Jeep people, and so when this happens, they are frightened to death over this situation, which is why FCA is getting sued over this deal. But FCA has a fix. Apparently the steering stabilizer is to blame. If you don't know a steering stabilizer, it's basically a shock absorber mounted to a position on the steering system and to a solid system that kind of mutes this quote-unquote death wobble to where it's very, very manageable. But the trick is with these vehicles being used all year round for a lot of folks, and the oil in the dampers getting some aeration, making the dampers a lot less effective, meaning this death wobble is a lot more prevalent. So a lot of brand new dampers are going on, or steering stabilizers are going on, brand new JKs and new JLs. And this lawsuit is probably going to be tied up in the court system for a fair amount of time, so we'll know more about that. Check back on the Facebook page, possibly with some information there. Next up on the list, sticking with the folks over at FCA, they're showing off this brand new machine. This is the 50th anniversary Daytona edition of the SRT Charger. This particular machine comes with the 6.2-liter supercharged Hemi V8 known as the Hellcat that does get a power upgrade, up 10 horsepower to 717 horsepower, 665 or 650 pounds-feet of torque. That is shipped exclusively through an 8-speed ZF gearbox, and the vehicle is rear-wheel drive. Now, back to the 50th anniversary edition of this machine. It means it's very limited edition. Only 501 of these things are going to be built for the world. Because back in 1969, that's when the first ever Daytona actually came into existence. Now, obviously, the new Daytona doesn't come like the old one. There isn't that huge nose cone or that massive rear wing out back. But this vehicle is the new generation of this thing, or 50 years gone on. Now, it comes in several different colors, about 4 or 5 different colors, but this particular color may be the color of choice if you're a vintage Daytona fan, because this is B5 blue, the only color harkening back for the old days. In fact, this fat guy actually got a ton of seat time. My father had a 1971 Charger Hemi 4-speed in B5 blue, so I got a fair amount of time in a B5 blue machine. Nothing like this particular vehicle, not near the horsepower this particular machine is going to be putting out. Again, 501 built for the world, no pricing or when they're actually going to be in dealer showrooms, assuming by later this year. We'll keep you in tune more of what we hear. And again, sticking with the folks over at FCA, the folks over at Auto Forecast Solutions are reporting that there's a new Challenger on the horizon, so to speak, but it's way out in the future. This vehicle will be going into production in April of 2023, which is an interesting situation because where I came across this information was the folks over at Autoline.tv. They're reporting that suppliers have told them that all the tooling, all the parts and supplies for this machine, all the development work for the new 2023 Challenger have already been done. In fact, the vehicle could be built today. Now, I don't know if this is a situation like the late Sergio Marchionne was looking for that partnership, looking for an influx of cash. They'd have enough money to actually do this. That could be the reason why we're not going to see this car for a handful more years, but we'll definitely keep you in tune more of what we hear about this particular machine heading into the future. Next up on the list, well, Monterey Car Week is just down around the corner. In fact, only hours away. And Acura is going to be showing off at the event this brand new concept. This is the Type S concept. The trick is we don't know a whole lot about this particular machine. They did talk a little bit about powertrain. Hopefully we'll know a whole lot more when this thing makes its debut. This might be a little look into the future of what the modern day Acura sedan is going to look like, no matter where this is going to end up and down the lineup. The car is very sexy looking. It's very modern looking, very clean lines. Talk about power coming from a turbocharged V6, which is kind of odd. Everybody kind of wants to go that hybrid or electric route, especially out in California. So we'll definitely keep you in tune of what we hear more about this. This thing is a handful of hours from being officially debuted. Maybe they'll have a whole lot more information. Check back on the Facebook page for more. And last up on the list, well, the poor old Golf R is going away again. Yes, this is kind of the R32, our Golf R is kind of the McRib of the Volkswagen world, where it's here for a little while, and then it's gone for a long period of time, then it's back again. And this is another one of those situations where its little all-wheel drive monster is going away again. So if you want to add on down to your Volkswagen dealership and get your hands on the last Golf Rs that are going to be available, you better get down there quick. No word on how long or when we could see the return of this machine. We'll definitely keep you in tune of what we hear. And that's all there was that I thought was worth talking about for this edition of Motor Cars Enthusiasts. Don't forget to like us over on the Facebook page. Links down in the show notes. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to the channel, you can do so at any time. Get the first dibs on the brand new shows as soon as they come out. Thanks for watching. We'll see you again real soon.